You are on the rant chair, which is where for $5 I will rant about a topic of your choice. Click the link in the description to request a rant. This one comes from Hot Pockets, and he asked me to rant about the post-CAG era, or being post-CAG. CAG, obviously the acronym for character action game. Stuff like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising, Wonderful 101, God Hand, those types of games. It's interesting because most of my audience here follow me because I presented myself as a CAG guy back in like 2019, right? That was my whole shit. I was obsessed with that genre, right? With that style of design. Just everything I talked about, everything I cared about, and um, I considered it sort of a really exemplary form of game design with uh like this really interesting intersection between like expression and challenge, I guess, right? Where you can sort of pick and choose on a sliding scale how far you want to go in either direction. And I found that really elegant and admirable in terms of design, and like especially as someone who around that time just got into a game design like university program, was pretty meaningful for me, right? But I think that I had some awareness that okay, the character action game whole is a real thing where just a certain set of people they will compare anything and everything to those types of games, and that's their only metric for enjoying games. They recently we have come to refer to that as the combat hole, right? Only my friend Pang, he always says only combat games can be peak games. Obviously he's saying it ironically. He's making fun of people who actually seem to think that they only play combat games. Um, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you. I want to say honestly, in the CAG era, my sensibilities were actually more balanced than they are right now. I think back then, back in like 2019, I was more open to like make exceptions for example, a JRPG or something, or an adventure game, right? I'd be like, okay, because of XYZ reasons, I'm still engaged and compelled by this. Um, I think now it's my metrics have really shifted to be less genre focused and just more fundamentals focused, right? I expect more, uh, and this is funny because like in school lately, I've been involved in some sort of academic projects where we've tried to define terms like depth a little more rigorously. So now I'm hesitant to use that as a qualifier when I don't know if it really hits, right? This idea that a game is somehow really rich, that a lot of factors are really interconnected and also relevant to your success somehow. That's in a really broad sense, that's really what I care about, right? That a game is somehow rich and dynamic and um complicated, right? And obviously that's something you can appreciate. I think you will even realize, oh, maybe CAGs are not even the best canvas for that. Maybe there's other types of games where you can appreciate that um that dynamic, I guess. I'm not sure when exactly. Dude, it's funny because like, okay, this is kind of an aside, but like I remember in my CAG era, I was really into the idea of like Metroidvanias as well. I was really into the idea of like non-linear and big air quotes level design. I didn't even define it as routing back then, really. I don't know how I explain it to myself in my head, but like especially with stuff like Zelda games, I was like, okay, if there's sort of a lot of branching paths and a lot of them feel valid, blah blah, blah, and the order is not really clear, that's good design. And platformers, I was not interested in at all. unless they had some kind of open-endedness, right? Which is like, I don't even know how I used to think that, dude. This is so stupid. Like, and that's like pretty recent as well. I'm such an idiot, dude. Oh my god, I'm such a child. Um, yeah, I don't. I mean, two big games that I played, not that long after, like, I entered this game design program, like in 2019, were Alien Soldier and Sifu. Sifu was 2022, right? I think that works. Um, I think the fact they condensed so much rich gameplay into such a short playtime, into a really tight structure as well, that really changed my viewpoint on games a lot. And hmm, I mean, that could be sort of a catalyst for, okay, that was the first seed of realizing, maybe, I mean, Sifu is a comic game. Sifu is a CAG, I guess, but um the 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 character actionness of it, maybe, and obviously this is a nonsensical fucking term, right? But the let's say the devil may cry ness of it maybe isn't the point, right? The point isn't juggles. The point isn't like doing long combos. The point is that it's somehow rich, right? And another big recent game, I think the big catalyst recently for this meme of post CAG was Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi is like, I don't, did I talked about it on streams a lot, but like, if you don't watch my streams, maybe you don't really know how much I fucking love Crazy Taxi. Um, that was a big hyper obsession for me and my friend group, and perfect example, honestly, of it has so many little moments in it that are a microcosm for richness or depth or whatever you want to call that, where it's so easy to explain as well. It's so easy to understand. And to me, it's like, if you can't appreciate a game like Crazy Taxi or a game like, let's say TGM2, for example, then I don't know, dude. I feel like you're missing out. I feel like you're limiting yourself. And I'm really curious sort of what that is, that mental thing where you're naturally drawn to combat games, because like, as someone who was in the hole, in the CAG hole, I couldn't tell you what it was. Obviously, I mentioned sort of, okay, the things I admired about it, but even then it's like, okay, why did I not sort of consciously realize that it's a more fundamental thing? Uh, and not, I was focusing on the surface level elements of it. Ironically, I thought I was focusing on the depth of it, right? On the, on the just the mechanical construction. Um, I guess in that sense, my framework for what was a good game was very example driven, right? I was like, oh, this is good because it's like Devil May Cry, blah, blah. Rather than, oh, this is good because it's rich. It's like, it leads to like complicated situations or something, yeah. Um, yeah. I I guess to bring this into a more broader context. Okay, into a broader context. Obviously we're in the Souls-like era now. I don't know if it's stopping anytime soon. I think there is the sense from the mainstream. I mean, it's a weird tension where I think in the mainstream CAGs are or have been perceived as kind of dumb games for a long time, for a long time. There's a fucking Tim Rogers Kotaku video where he calls DMC like the king of trash or something, and I got so mad at that at the time. I feel like which obviously silly, right? But I do think there are intelligent games that are very that are rich in their own way, right? And then just literally focusing on the purely the aesthetic element of it, to me is so stupid. Um, and I think I mean, the success of something like Souls is that it really breaks down. Um, it makes all your decisions. I'm gonna put it very loosely, very obvious, right? Um, because it's a slower game, because you have this very methodical control scheme where um it's very natural to focus on a single enemy to circle strafe. The hitboxes make that very natural. You really see the hitboxes very well as well, right? With if you just swing a long sword horizontally, you have a very clear idea of what that's gonna hit and how far that goes, right? I think that's something that the average person doesn't think that hard about with a game like DMC or Bayonetta, right? Souls is successful in making a very normal person think about that sort of thing. Um, and I mean, and that's why you get you get forum posts where people I guess Sekiro was like the deepest game ever, and which is obviously okay. I don't make fun of that type of person. Uh, but it's there's clearly a lack of a defined sort of framework for judging these sorts of things. Like if it's fun to me, if it feels like I'm doing a lot of stuff, then it's good, right? That is sort of how most games media people write about games still. Um, and maybe yeah, it's it is like I guess it is frustrating how you have to as a game designer you have to bait a lot. You have to appear a certain way to be perceived that way, right? Rather than just being that way in the mechanics, right? The perception of the game is more important than what the game actually is. Okay, I don't know if I veered off topic a little bit. Is there a I mean, it was a funny meme request, so I hope I gave you something slightly more thoughtful than um what I expected to say. Yeah, thank you for listening.